The attack came 5 days later, during a routine 0400 tow of an empty oil barge down the Delaware River. The weather was clear, the sea calm, a perfect, predictable night for a clean extraction. The crisis began with a sudden, coordinated act of chaos orchestrated by the Ethelred group. A massive, unlit fishing trawler, seemingly disabled, drifted directly into the ironclad's path. Captain Hollis screamed on the mic, recognizing the imminent, unavoidable collision. "Brace for impact," Hollis roared, slamming the engines to reverse. The mate in Silas recognized the deception instantly. The trawler was a shield. The collision wasn't the attack. It was the diversion and immobilization they needed to breach the tug. As the ironclad shuddered violently, scraping against the trawler's hull, a heavily modified fast attack RIB, rigid inflatable boat, shot out from the trawler's far side. It was packed with 4 black-clad silent operatives, the Ethelred extraction team. They carried breaching tools and suppressed firearms. The operatives' target wasn't the wheelhouse, it was the engine room. While Silas and Hollis dealt with the ironclad's sudden listing and damage, the operatives used specialized explosive charges to create 2 clean, entry-sized holes just above the ironclad's waterline. They swarmed into the engine room, moving like ghosts, their only mission to retrieve Nolan and subdue Silas. The tug was now listing, taking on water, and host to a heavily armed professional extraction team. Silas, having anticipated a hull breach near the engine room, wasn't caught off guard. He immediately secured Captain Hollis in the wheelhouse, locking the door. He plunged down to the main deck, grabbing a pair of heavy spanners, massive, weighty tools used for engine maintenance. He was outgunned, but he had the home field advantage. The first 2 Ethelred operatives, moving towards the aft bunkhouse where Nolan was restrained, hit Silas's mooring line trap. One operative tried to cut through a rope, blocking the corridor. His knife blade snapped instantly on the hidden stainless steel wire core. The second operative stepped over the line, his foot snagging the razor-sharp exposed end of the wire. He dropped his weapon, cursing silently as a thin line of blood immediately darkened his gear. Silas met the third operative at the head of the service stairwell. This was a close-quarters fight in the dark, and Silas used his superior knowledge of the environment. He didn't fight with fists, he fought with the ship. He slammed his spanner against a nearby pipe, creating a deafening gong that disoriented the masked operative, then slammed the massive tool into the man's unarmored shoulder, sending him tumbling into the engine room access hatch. The fourth operative, leading the charge, made it to the engine room and quickly located the chained, frantic Nolan. He was about to use a specialized cutter on the restraints when he encountered the hydraulic ambush. Silas, now safe in the wheelhouse, yanked the hidden pilot line he'd run to the hydraulic system. The effect was instantaneous and catastrophic. A main hydraulic hose in the engine room, pre-stressed by Silas's adjustments, blew with the sound of a small explosion. Scalding high-pressure hydraulic fluid sprayed across the engine room, instantly blinding the operative and turning the confined space into a chaotic sauna. The crew, jolted by the original collision and the sound of the explosion, were now roused and panicking, creating the perfect human shield. Nolan, coughing in the thick, oily steam, didn't use the chaos to escape. He knew his only chance was to cooperate with Silas. The winch access hatch, it's the cleanest way out. Nolan screamed to Silas, who had entered the scene to assess the damage. Silas nodded, his eyes locked on the remaining blinded operatives. He grabbed the satellite communicator Nolan had dropped days ago. Silas knew he couldn't hold the ship. The Ethelred group would send another wave. He had to destroy the evidence and secure his leverage. He dragged the now freed Nolan back to the wheelhouse. "We're sinking the ironclad," Silas declared to a stunned Captain Hollis. He grabbed the satellite communicator and quickly sent a single encrypted transmission to Gus, detailing the precise coordinates of the Ethelred trawler, framing them for the attack on the tug. Then Silas calmly activated the tug's emergency fire suppression system, but manually bypassed the main engine room line, diverting the CO2 gas directly into the compromised aft engine spaces where the operatives were. He then ordered Mac and Barb to take the life raft. Silas forced Nolan to grab the emergency go-bag he'd stashed near the tug's berth, a secondary lie he'd established days ago. As the first wave of